Bronny James has just been drafted by the Lakers, I think like 2 days ago or yesterday. I can't really remember. Obviously, they've been pinning it on him too much. LeBron's legacy is supposed to be carried by him. I don't like this at all. His career has been tarnished from the start. Forever and ever, they're just gonna compare him to LeBron James. So it's like, I don't know. Unless LeBron plans on either leaving this season or next season, Bronny James is always going to look under. And he's playing with his dad, so everyone else around him is going to look bad. You know how bad that's going to look? Everybody around playing with LeBron is going to be like, we don't respect you. You're his son. Like, he's not going to be given an adult-like treatment. It's just going to be, I don't know. It's going to be given. This just proves that LeBron is the GM of the team. He literally drafted JJ Redick and Bronny within the same like 2 months. In the same month, he got a new coach and his son on the team. That's just, bro got too much power over there in LA. But we're gonna react to JxmyHighroller doing a reaction about a video on Bronny James. So you know he always comes with the bangers. So yeah, make sure you like the video. You know what? Like the video. Like, you don't even have to subscribe, just like the video. Like the video is easy. All you have to do is press the thumbs up button, and it honestly just helps the video do better. So like the video. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. At least like the video.
With the 2024 NBA draft in the books, there is one major discussion that has dominated the NBA space over the last week. It isn't about the #1 overall pick.
No,
it isn't
no one's
about
talking
the
about
outlook of these teams going into next season.
Nope.
It's about a late second-round pick, and for good reason.
The 55.
Because his name is LeBron James, and he's going to play in the NBA with LeBron James.
Yeah.
It's a weird and unprecedented circumstance that the NBA has never encountered before. A player who many fans consider to be the greatest of all time playing in the NBA with his own son. A story so strange, you'd think the NBA scriptwriters outsourced their work to ChatGPT, picked the most batshit result, and called it a day. But after 2 years of speculation, we now know with certainty that Bronny James will be an NBA player.
Bro was just getting coached by LeBron
of his merits and value as a future player in the NBA have already came pouring in. Scouts and GMs claiming Bronny as a prospect isn't even worth using a late second-round pick on, and that the real value lies in his last.
Listen, if you want ticket sales and that's your goal, go ahead and draft Bronny James and just put him on the bench and let him get 4 minutes. If you want an actual like prospect, I don't know, bro. Literally just came off cardiac arrest 2-3 years ago. It's a tough thing to put on him.
Name and the leverage it comes with. But how valuable is a second-round pick, really? And is Bronny a legitimate NBA player, or is he only in conversation solely because of who his dad is?
I mean, he's good, but
who you want to play with?
It's definitely
Bronny's #1 on my list.
LeBron.
I gotta be on the floor with Bronny.
Look how small he is.
Bronny.
That's crazy. Time really just. This video is sponsored by SeatGeek. Sponsor me. I'm not getting money on for this. We're gonna skip it.
Griffey, former major leaguer. This is Ken Griffey, former major leaguer and 3-time All-Star. This is Ken Griffey Jr., son of Ken Griffey. And in 1990, these two did one of the coolest things a father and son can possibly do. They played in the MLB together. And when I say together, I don't just mean they played in the MLB at the same time. They were on the same team. In fact, they weren't just on the same team, they shared the same outfield with each other. It's probably the rarest and most badass thing you'll ever see in sports. Making it to the big leagues is one thing, but playing in the big leagues next to your kid is a club exclusive to only these two. And if that wasn't incredible enough, on September 14th, 1990, the Griffeys pulled off something that you will never see again in your lifetime.
I'm gonna inch back up there now. Well hit to center field. Devon
back-to-back home runs.
Gone, a 2-run home run.
Back-to-back home runs. Tough.
And he hits one well to left center field. Bichette. Back-to-back home run.
That's OC. That's OC.
What else can these guys do?
The Griffeys were great, and they were the first and only father-son duo in the history of Major League Baseball. But they weren't the first father-son duo in professional sports. This is Gordie Howe, one of the greatest players to ever touch the ice. He won 4 Stanley Cups, 6 MVPs, held the NHL record for total career points at the time of his retirement, and is a member of the NHL's 100th anniversary team. Gordie had an incredible pro career as a hockey player, and yet out of all of his accomplishments, the coolest thing he ever did was this. This is Mark and Marty Howe, Gordie's sons, and he played professional hockey with them in both the WHA and the NHL for 5 seasons. Now, if you're thinking, that guy looks a little old to be playing professional sports, you're right.
He sure
Gordie
does.
began his career in the NHL in 1946 when he was just 18 years old. By the time he retired for good, he was 51.
Oh,
a
wow.
career that stretched from the 1940s
51?
to the 1980s. And only with a career like this can a player even have a shot at playing in the league together with their son. Why exactly am I talking about home runs and Gordie Howe? Well, because they're awesome, but also because of these two and what they're about to accomplish in their own sport. LeBron and Bronny James, who are on track to being the first father and son duo to play together in the NBA.
LeBron is the coach of this team, bro. He literally tested, and people were joking about it on the LeBron James Reddit, JJ Redick podcast, and they're like, when JJ Redick was like describing plays from LeBron that he was doing, he was like, oh, this is his test, his interview on becoming the coach, and then miraculously he becomes the coach, and then now he has Bronny James. LeBron's gonna be controlling the minutes, bro. I'm telling you, it's just wild.
An idea that seemed far-fetched when LeBron first mentioned it years ago, but has now become a reality.
Bronny is definitely going to get minutes solely because LeBron's on the team.
And is the backlash towards the Lakers selecting him with a second-round pick in the draft warranted? Well, to answer this question, we first need to know just how good Bronny is as
It's
a
good for
prospect
box office,
and as an incoming
but
NBA
is it good
player.
for their
Right now,
franchise?
NBADraft.net has Bronny rated at an 88 overall across their 12 prospect metrics.
88
This
overall.
overall rating puts Bronny on the lower end of all second-round picks and future prospects over the last 3 years, but well within range of your typical mid to late first-rounder. Now, here are Bronny's numbers during his 1 season of college basketball. 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists a game on 47, 30,
This
69%
isn't
shooting
horrible.
splits. Now, these numbers, especially from a relatively undersized guard, do not scream NBA potential. But for perspective, here
is
are
pretty.
the average collegiate stats from every late second-round pick that played college basketball over the last 5 years. And even when compared to late second-round picks, Bronny's numbers aren't nearly as impressive. In fact, Bronny is arguably the least productive college prospect in NBA history. Here is a list of every player in the entire history of the NBA to be selected in the first 2 rounds of the draft that averaged less than 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists a game in college.
1, 2, 3.
And that's it. Just 3 players who were selected in the NBA draft.
So you're telling me somebody got picked in the NBA that was averaging 0.8 points per game? Maybe his father was on the general managing team or something. Cause what the heck? 0 assists, bro. What?
With college numbers equal to or less than Bronny's college numbers. Pair that with the fact that these prospects had at least the benefit of having NBA frames and physical tools to be potentially built off of, and the case for Bronny warranting a pick in the NBA draft becomes more.
I see. Okay. Because they're saying, they're both 6'8" to what? This guy's also 6'11", 250. They're going off of that alone, I guess.
And more difficult to make. But to really demonstrate exactly where Bronny falls amongst other second-round picks, here is a chart of every college basketball player selected in the second round of the draft over the last 10 years, with box plus minus on the x-axis and minutes per game on the y-axis.
Look at Jalen Brunson, bro. A steal.
298 selections spanning 10 drafts. More than half of these players not even in the NBA today. Where's Bronny? He's right here. Most late draft picks, even the guys who go on to not even make a roster in the league, were first or maybe second options in their college program. Bronny, on the other hand, was an undersized rotational player on a sub-500 team. It doesn't take an NBA scout to know that Bronny James's collegiate career wasn't that of your typical second-round draft pick. But how good is the typical second-round pick? With the rise of second-round sleepers in recent history, most notably players like Nikola Jokic, Jalen Brunson, Herb Jones, and Jordan Clarkson, the potential value of a second-round pick in the NBA draft is about as high as it's ever been. With the help of advanced metrics, the curtain has been pulled back on the value even a solid role player can provide to a winning team. Prospect scouting has gotten more comprehensive than ever before, and these second-round picks have held considerable weight within recent trades around the NBA. But how valuable does that truly make them? Gathered from 10 years worth of draft classes from 2013 to 2022, data shows that on average, out of the 30 players drafted in the second round, about 6 of them won't even suit up in the NBA. That's about 1 in every 5 players selected in the second round that will never see a minute of action in the league. Out of the 24 players who do make a roster in their rookie season, about 17 of them end up playing a second season in the NBA. Of those 17 players that are good enough to stick around for more than a few seasons, only about 8 of them will go on to be a role player or rotational level player. Go one step further, and on average, only 4 of these second round picks will become a starting caliber player in their career. That's about 1 in every 8 players selected in the second round. And finally, of the 298 players selected in the second round of the draft from 2013 to 2022, only 2 of them became All-Stars: Nikola Jokic and Jalen Brunson. If we think about the last 10 years of second-round picks on a scale of box plus minus, with Nikola Jokic being on one end and the players who don't even make a roster on the other, then most players aren't in the middle. In fact, they're not even close. Most second-round picks fall way down here, somewhere in between what Basketball Reference would classify as an end-of-the-bench player and out of the league. When considering how to use a second-round pick, the idea of drafting a guy who ends up being a real contributing player, a starter, or even a future MVP, the perceived opportunity cost can tend to outweigh the actual value of the pick. Drafting a player of this caliber in the second round is like finding a diamond in the rough. But giving away a pick or a potential player that ends up being of this caliber would be a mistake that no front office wants to live with. But that doesn't change the fact that the vast majority of the time, these second round picks in the NBA draft go on to be these end-of-the-bench level players. Just out of curiosity, does anyone know who the last few 55th overall picks in the draft were and how their careers are turning out? Last year's 55th overall pick has played 1 game in the NBA. The one before that has played 23 games in 2 seasons. The 55th pick in 2021, Aaron Wiggins, is actually having himself a solid career so far, but the one before him is out of the league. The one before that one is also out of the league. He's also out of the league, out of the league, out of the league, was never in the league, out of the league, and out of the league. As a late second rounder, if Bronny can contribute on any level in the NBA, he has already exceeded his draft value. And that's really the proposition in all of this. It would be incredible if Bronny developed into a Davion Mitchell or Aaron Holiday caliber player. But the reality is, if Bronny can provide any net positive value to his team, then selecting him in the draft will have been a great pick. There has never been a player projected to go this late in the draft with any expectations on what they should or will do. These late draft picks have historically been reserved for players who might have been overlooked, players who maybe underperformed their potential at the collegiate level, players who organizations are willing to roll the dice on because there's virtually
there are more people. The problem with this, there's more people in the world that know him than knew the first pick of the draft. I didn't even know who the first pick of the draft was. It was some guy, overseas or something? I've never heard of him in my life. The only people I heard about in that draft were probably the 2 college guys that ended up going to the G League. The really tall one that went to the Grizzlies. Rob Dillingham, and the guy who got drafted after him. I forgot his name. And the one shooter who knocked out Duke or Kentucky. I forgot which one. That's about it. I don't know much of this new draft, but I know Bronny, and he got picked 55th.
Opportunity cost associated with late second round picks. It's all upside at this point in the draft. If they don't work out, well, that's typical.
And he did very decent in the draft combine, though.
If they do work out, well then they've beaten the odds. And the very large point being overlooked in all of this talk about potential and value to the team and X's and O's, LeBron James has the opportunity to play basketball with his kid.
What scares me is if LeBron leaves and he leaves his son. If LeBron James leaves and leaves LeBron James Jr. on the team, his legacy is cooked. His legacy is cooked. I'm telling you, play 2 seasons with your father, get traded, and then LeBron leave. Because there is no... But then at the same time, if he does that and then gets no minutes and he's cooked because he's on the end of the bench rather than playing with his father who's actually giving him minutes, regardless, unless he comes out to become like Nikola Jokic level, he's cooked. He's cooked. I'm telling you, it's such a bad situation to be in too. And LeBron James, I remember I heard him in an interview a long time ago. He was like, "Oh yeah, I regret calling him LeBron James Jr. because now he literally has to live up to my legacy." Unless, what she said, Bronny said, if he didn't get drafted, he got a 4-year Planet phase. So maybe that was the better idea, but who knows, bro? I don't doubt him at all. I really want him to do well. Obviously, I like LeBron. LeBron's the GOAT. So I really, really, really would like to see his son do well. But it's just the world and where LeBron has put him in the position, I don't like it at all. I would rather him get drafted to the Wizards and work up from there, honestly, than him get drafted to the Lakers. Because now it's really LeBron James's legacy. That's what I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it sounds bad, but the name on your back is James Jr. As bad as it looks, you have to... That's what the world's going to put you to, at least. As long as you're comfortable with what you're doing, it's fine. But the world and everyone else is going to always compare you to your father, which is
in the
tough
NBA,
because he's the GOAT.
Let's just be honest. This is blatant nepotism. A classic case of it's who you know, not what you know. But nepotism has ran rampant in the NBA for decades, and no one cared. Countless players, coaches, executives, owners who got their shot with far less merit. But now here we are sitting around talking about the integrity of a man who's played 21 seasons in the league and his son because they made the most of an otherwise paltry 55th pick in the draft, and the nepotism leaned in their favor this time around. We can criticize this decision all we want, preach about how this move was a breach of ethics, a slap in the face of the game we love. But then we would all be hypocrites, because there isn't a man on earth who would pass up on the chance to play in the NBA with his son, even if it meant pulling a few strings to make it happen. As much as Bronny benefits from sharing the same last name as arguably the best basketball player of all time, that tag has also came with equal scrutiny. We have never seen a late second-round pick get discussed and limelighted like we've seen with Bronny. But we've also never seen a late second-round flyer get completely dissected and criticized like this. LeBron and Bronny have a chance to do something that has never been done in the history of the NBA. And that is worth more than any late second-round pick will ever be.
If I played in the NBA and I had a chance to play with my son, I'd 100% do it. If I was the GOAT and I named my son after myself, I'd maybe think about it twice. I'd maybe want to go up against him, but I would want to give my son my legacy and say, you know what, come on my team. Like this, that's like, I cannot name my son Femi Jr., put him into my career craft and put him under me. No, I can't, because now you're always under me. No, I can't do that. You have to be in a different career. Either pick a different career, or I'm renaming you forever. Like this, I can't name you after me and then put you in my position and tell you better do at least somewhat good, because the world will never see it as that. The world will always see it as, oh, he never got to the level of his father. He was never able to reach the levels of his father. He was never able to do what his name was tarnished forever once he named him after his son. Like, I can't. Me personally, I would not have done that. I probably would not have wanted him on my team. As much as that is my son, I would rather him go against him, because that would, his career is on the internet and legacy level tarnished. He will always be compared to his father. It doesn't matter what he does, unless he was either renamed something else, like not LeBron James Jr., or he was drafted on a different team, so you don't really have to compare him to LeBron. You have to compare him to the people that he's playing with. Obviously, the comparisons will always be there because that's his son, but it would be a lot less if his name wasn't LeBron James Jr. and he wasn't on the same team. So.